Welcome, everybody. This is the Rotary E-Club of Silicon Valley, and we are here, as we are every week, bringing you stories of people doing wildly cool and interesting things in the world of service, especially as they relate to innovation, entrepreneurship, and education, because those are focuses for our E-Club. So what we like to do is we like to find these folks and to get them into our space using video conference so that we can record something that allows them to tell that story in new ways. With us today is Doug McNeil, and Doug is the founder of Lighting for Literacy, and with him is Mags McInerney, who they are both members of the Los Gatos Morning Rotary Club, and she's there to help him out as he does a little tech stuff and tells us about the wonderfully cool program that Lighting for Literacy is. You've read his bio above, and we are very happy to have him. I will pass it over to you, Doug and Mags. Go.
Very good. Good evening. I'm honored to be here and be part of the E-Club presentation. I'm one of many members of Los Gatos Morning Rotary to present Lighting for Literacy. So as you bear with us, we'll get switched over and put up a set of slides for you to see. I want to remind everybody that on the first set of slides, there's our Facebook page, and we'll go ahead and transition over to the slides. So we do have a Facebook page, Lighting for Literacy, and also a website, www.lightingforliteracy.org. So the essence of Lighting for Literacy is basically developing a transformational STEM program to really inspire opportunities for youth. And so the goal is to teach science, sustainability, and service above self. We've been really running this program for the past 4 years. We just recently did a program with the 49ers STEM Leadership Institute. We took 120 youth, built 30 systems in 2 hours, which will benefit anywhere from 180 to 1,800 international youth. But our main goal here is helping youth imagine and create a better future for others. Here's some pictures from Colonet, Mexico. So we started out 4 years ago building homes, installing lighting systems, and building water towers for homes down in Colonet, Mexico with Rotarians that you can see in the picture there. We've gone out and worked on the Navajo Nation with the Daybreak Rotary in Durango and multiple organizations across the U.S. Here in our community, a picture showing Rotarians building systems, a picture at Levi Stadium, picture to the right of Rotarians across the valley. And at the bottom, Angie Hassler with us during our first shipment from Los Gatos Morning Rotary to Zambia. We recently made a trip to Washington, D.C. This was last summer as part of the U.S. 2020 STEM corporate partners. And really just to summarize this slide, it was a cooperative activity with corporations here in the Valley to help underserved schools to build lighting systems and actually to teach STEM. And they had key sponsors that you can see here on the slide. SanDisk was the primary sponsor, and we were picked out of 80 entries to go to the White House and talk about mentoring youth. And really the key thing and the most amazing thing that's going on in the Valley here with the recovery and where the economy is that the corporations are working with organizations like ours to help build the workforce of the future and to build community involvement and volunteerism, and to build a global citizenship and social justice. So with those Fortune 500 companies and the help of corporate sponsors, we're building a youth movement here in the United States. We had an amazing opportunity to meet Megan Smith, the U.S. Chief Technology Officer for the President, and she spoke with us, and you can see here on the slide, from the standpoint of what's it like to mentor the next generation, and think back to moments you remember growing up and someone inspired and mentored you to learn. And so through each of these bullets here, you can see, what those educational models for the future are. But probably the most important thing is to really inspire youth, span the generations, help them discover something amazing, but to create a maker movement that changes lives. And so what we share with the young people is that in every one of our workshops is it gives them a picture or a vision of the reality of what is going on in the world. And as Rotarians, an opportunity for us to explain to them that when the sun sets, in the world's population is 7.4 billion people, that 1.2 billion people live in darkness when the sun sets. And that reality is something that opens us up to and opens youth up to understanding in the world picture that 20% of the world's population lives on $2.50 a day. They basically live with kerosene and candles, which are carcinogenic light sources, which inspired us to really understand that 80% of the population is, from an educational point of view, is illiterate. And so this mission that we're on is to create an opportunity for a brighter future for youth and really demonstrate to young people as young as 6th grade that they can build a compact renewable power system and that electricity really powers the well-being of the least last and the loneliest. The picture that I just showed you was actually a recent installation in Costa Rica. A very amazing article that came out not too long ago was Harvard Business Review, and it shows how electricity powers human development, in which you can see in this particular chart on the horizontal axis is all the first world nations, and the vertical axis is those that basically live below a certain electricity standard that basically live in complete darkness. And so that vertical axis represents that 20% of the human population living off-grid and living with no electricity or lighting at night. And so the key thing to really pass on to you is that case studies have shown that if we want to transform the futures of youth, not just in this country, but around the world, and help young people here understand how they can help, and kind of really be the future humanitarians or future Rotarians and philanthropists and entrepreneurs and innovators, that they can create a change as young as 11 years old, and they can help youth around the world add 4 hours to study, improve test scores, increase enrollment, give those students a feeling of safety, increase hygiene, basically improve teacher performance and morale, and decrease respiratory disease, burns, and loss of their homes. So it's a multi-dimensional, beneficial statement that just one act of building one unit in 1 hour, they can create a major change in someone's life around the world. So in short summary, we created this program 4 years ago. I was a Red Badger. It was an Earth Day project, and we recognized that one of the big solutions or big issues in the world was the fact that there were 20% of the population, of which 800 million adult and youth of that population are functionally illiterate. And that building these compact renewable lighting systems, these small little power stations or microgrids, we could reach around the world and change the lives of people in a very transformational way. After 4 years, we've deployed to over 20 different international sites around the world. And I tell you, it seemed like it was going to be a challenge at the time to make that happen, but we pulled it off, and the opportunity just continued to come at us with a goal of 1.2 billion. We have a ways to go, but there's a lot of great humanitarian organizations working together to do that. I won't go through this entire slide, but the keys to adoption to make this really a successful program has been to remove all the barriers of entry. So everyone of every age with any background can build these systems. Minimal tools, simple steps, easy to procure parts, make this a program that anybody can do. And being that it's a digital program, we can ship it around, and small greenfield opportunities in schools, clubs can start up and do this project. The hand tools are simple. There's basically 5 hand tools that are used to assemble the power junction box. It has a charge controller and battery with the cables that connect to an LED and solar panel. So keeping the tools simple, keeping the parts simple, small form factor, easy to put together. It's basically simple and executable such that students can put this together in 1 hour. And that was a critical thing for us. The original design that we came up with took about 4 hours to build, so we had to improvise, adapt, and overcome and come up with a simple system that could be built in the hands of students that were 10 to 11 years old. Now, at this point, at this juncture, we've built probably close to 300 systems with over 1,000 students, and we've really optimized and simplified this as we've moved through it. We make also some mounting hardware to attach the solar panel, and that solar panel basically attaches to the roof and attaches the panel and anchors it in place to make sure it's in the right orientation at the right latitude, so we get the maximum power collection. This is a kit complete. You can see in the picture the mounting hardware for the solar panel, a battery, the junction box, the LED strip, and the battery that completes out the system. Here's some pictures of the workshops we've done across the United States. So in addition to California, programs have cropped up in Colorado, Alabama, Wisconsin. We've done big events at UC Berkeley, in the East Bay, and Levi Stadium last December. And we continue to involve our LFL Interact volunteers, and they've done multiple steps in this process and helped us pack out our first systems that actually went international to Africa back in 2013. We've also advanced from just the simple 1 hour project to the 4 hour project, and we've launched multiple high schools. It's here in the Bay Area and actually down in San Benito County and Salinas, which is our first board building project. Here's another picture showing some of the students, and they just actually successfully this year built out the first set of boards that kind of started our original program 4 years ago. Just some quick pictures for you, and everybody viewing these slides is some of the students actually installing systems. Our first 5 systems that were built back in 2012 as part of this Earth Day project were 2 young ladies from Lee High School, a junior and a senior, and they improvised, adapted, and overcame. We taught them how to install the systems. They perfected it from a 2 hour install to a 20-minute install by the time they installed the last system, and now we take students each year to install these. Here's a picture of one of the homes we built. In the lower corner on the right-hand side is one lit by the LED lighting, the compact renewable lighting system. And as a part of this process, we hand out books to the families. Marcelia is the young lady you see in the picture here. It was a very touching point, story for another time, how she opened the book to the sun. And now her home is lit by a solar panel system. Here's some pictures in Window Rock, Arizona. We started off this with Daybreak Rotary in Durango, and now we're installing systems of our own, and there's 150 unit installation ongoing as we speak. I'll say as a Rotarian, one of the most amazing moments for me was working with Tom Bay, who's in the left side of this picture. He lives out in Forest Lakes in Arizona, and we worked with another Rotary team to install solar systems out throughout the reservation. Tom Bay was so excited, he started in a few words in English and broke right into Navajo, and his grandson came up and said, my great-grandfather is very excited. When he speaks in Navajo, you have touched his heart. This is why we're Rotarians. Here's a picture of a school and a library in Kenya. We've actually gone into 4 separate sites. So Zambia, Kenya, Ghana, and Malawi are the 4 African sites that we've gone into and have been quite successful. This is actually a recent installation by Los Altos High School in Haiti, where they came to us and said, we have a Women in STEM club, we have a Green Club, and we'd like to launch a program. And can you help us? And right before we went to Mexico, first part of April, they built up 10 systems. The students went down, they installed them into the schools, and this will be a multi-year deployment activity that we've started. One of our big next steps is our International Rotary Global Grant, which is led by a very amazing and hardworking person in our club, Max McInerney, and she's actually sitting here next to me. Would you like to add a quick comment about the Global Grant and what we're doing here?
Yeah,
5170?
Just very briefly, we're planning to go into Nicaragua to set up a vocational training program to teach kids there how to make the units, and then generate some funding within the country to keep the program sustainable. And then we have 2 great partners who are going to help with actually continuing the educational program and doing the installation and deployment of the units to families that don't have any electricity, which is about 1/4 to 1/3 of the population.
Thank you. So I'll leave with this final statement, which is from Nelson Mandela, a quote from him: without education, I was going to say electricity, we'll say both, your children can never really meet the challenges they will face. So it's very important to give children education and explain that they should play a role in that for their country. So Lighting for Literacy, again, we're in our 4th year. We've had some amazing opportunities at the local and global level. We continue to grow. We've installed out to 20 sites. We've had over 1,000 students build systems, and now we're at a point where the actual benefit is probably close to 4,000 youth worldwide. So we would love to have members that are viewing this join us at some point. This has been a fantastic program. Originally, our goal was to build 10 boards and just do a simple Earth Day project. One step led to another, and here we are today having this conversation. So thank you so much for this time. As we wrap up here, I want to remind everybody that you can learn more about us. And as I mentioned in the front end there, you can go to our Facebook page and see current pictures of some of the installations and events and workshops that we do, and go to our lightingforliteracy.org website to learn some additional information about us. So Rustin, thank you very much for this opportunity to speak to you this evening, and we look forward to hearing from everybody.
Excellent, wonderful. And what I'll have you do is kind of back out of that so that we will stop screen sharing on that side. Wonderfully cool information going here, and then there's a whole set of questions that I've kind of got in mind. But I'll start with this one. When we think about the kids here taking part, you know, from a STEM education, how they get involved. We know that they can build the units, but how else are students involved in the process of figuring out how these different tools can be developed? Or, you know, it seems like in the picture, involved in going and doing installations. Can you speak more to that?
Well, so, I mean, we started the program going to Culinet, Mexico, and none of them had ever built a circuit board before. And so this charge controller seemed to be the right opportunity. It was very simple, 23 components. They put the board together. Those same group of students actually went down. Not only did they build the boards, they built the systems and they installed them and went down to the community to see how they impacted the lives of the people who were going to use them. And that came back as probably one of the biggest stories after 10 years of building homes in Mexico, that one young lady from Lee High School said, "Doug, I've been building these homes for 10 years with my family. I've been going on every spring break, but all I had to do was flip a switch and change a life." And now she's a chemical engineering major at Santa Barbara University.
Very cool. I'm imagining that this kind of work of developing these kinds of units could even be something people, actually, I should also give a little bit of feedback. I don't know if you can turn your speakers down just a tad. That might help a bit. But when you have these things, what if people in villages, for example, are learning to make those as well? Have you explored those kinds of things? But they're the ones actually beginning to make these units that can be sold in other places in their country or anything like that?
Yeah, so as Mag said, one of our key goals with the international grant is to start up a vocational school in Nicaragua. But quite interestingly, when we first started, it wasn't long after that we delivered units with actually an organization called Stop Hunger Now, and those were shipped to Zambia, Africa. And the individual that we worked with down there was building schools throughout the sub-Saharan plain of Africa. And it was one of these amazing days where you get on Skype, and it was a Sunday afternoon, and the co-founder and I got on a call, and he asked what we were doing and how he could get involved. And he said, you know, there's 1 million youth in Zambia, Africa with no hope or future. But if we could teach them how to build these systems and how to install these systems, they could be a champion of change in their own community. So he gave us a story that if we could ship him 10 systems, he would feed back to us the impact that it had on the lives of, he would pick 6 youth to go and install these throughout these different locations. And a very short answer back to you, the most amazing story came back, which was one youth went into a school that he was basically orphaned. His parents passed away from AIDS. There was no family around other than other distant cousins in the community he came from. He went back to his original school, and he lit that school. He installed that solar system, and he became the hero of the school and his community for creating light. That inspired him to be something different, to be something bigger. And so Dave Keating, who we partnered with down there, said he is going to expand this across the sub-Saharan plain of Africa, and we were going to give those students and those young people, that 1 million youth, an opportunity to do something bigger than themselves.
Fantastic. I think of the different things that we've shared through our meetings and programs. So we've had a couple of programs on fostering entrepreneurship in different parts of Africa. We also had a wonderful video in March of last year about a Google Science Fair winner who had created a flashlight based on the heat of the human hand, right? And just in that was part of that same story. If you can't see well enough at night to read and study, you're going to fall behind in school. And once you fall behind in school in a lot of these places, your hope is gone. So, you know, it seems like you've really tapped something powerful with trying to get that in motion in places.
Absolutely. And again, as I mentioned in the very front end, our goal is really to help them imagine and create better futures for others. At the college level, they teach students engineers beyond borders and global social incubation. And so our thought is, well, how do we start the pathway towards science, technology, engineering, and math? And the reality is, if we can inspire young people who may not always be directed towards the sciences or towards math or engineering, but if we can inspire them that there's a purposeful project that they can, a hands-on project in 1 hour, they can create something that would help the lives of, say, 6 people in a home or 60 students in a school, they realize at 11 years old that they're empowered to bring big change. So if we can inspire them at that young age, then we may turn the corner on many futures of many youth here, that they can be a solution, and they can certainly be that champion to change in the future for people their age.
Very cool. So as kind of a finishing question there, when we think about the units, what would you say is the cost of a unit, and how long does one of those units typically last?
So the unit cost is $130. The main cost is the solar panel, which is $42, and the battery is about $18. That LED is about $18. Charge controller is about $14 to $15, and the rest is smaller costs. So the unit will last up to 10 years. The battery has a life of about 3 to 4 years. The design of the system is that it's a standard UPS battery that can be purchased anywhere in the world. It's a sealed lead-acid battery, and that battery, properly cared for, can go for about 3 years. But if not, it can be changed out and recycled and easily purchased.
Very cool. Well, when I think about how you've gotten involved in this and about, you know, kind of the Rotary connections, you know, it seems like often what really works well in Rotary is when people start talking to each other in different places and say, let's find a way to work together. It sounds like there have been lots of different Rotary connections that have fallen into place to help make some of these different projects happen. Let's say that a visitor who's part of the downtown Mobile, Alabama club watches this recording and wants to get involved. Is it just a matter of like contacting you through the Facebook page or your website, which we'll have the links for just a little down a bit?
Yes, either way. They can go through Facebook, leave a message, or onto the .org website and contact us that way.
Good deal. All right, I want to thank our PR chair, Chris Cochran, who joined us kind of for the first portion but had to leave, and our membership chair, Shag Shagrin, who has joined in kind of right now as well. I think that, you know, once we start seeing the comments pile up for this one, there's going to be a lot of opportunities to reply maybe and to give your thoughts on this. I hope that when the week that this program is the capstone of our meeting, that you might have time to take a look at what people comment and add your replies. That would be awesome.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I will pass it back to you in just a moment to give us a final thought. Before I do that, I want to give kind of our standard finish, which is for everybody. Please let us know you were here. If you scroll down just a little bit farther on our webpage, you're going to find the attendance survey. And you know, there you put in your name. If you're a visitor, then you put in your email address. And if you spell your email correctly, it'll generate an email that will go to you saying that you made up with our club. And so if you're making up a missed meeting, you can forward that on to your secretary, and there's your proof. And then a little farther down, we have our comment section, Discuss, D-I-S-Q-U-S. And that's something that you can create an account for. You can sign in with a Google account or a Facebook account or a Twitter account or whatever you like, and leave a comment. But we really want people to leave comments because that allows us to get to know each other and to kind of share ideas and kind of get in that space where the innovation begins to build. Because one of your thoughts on this program may lead to an innovation for what's going on with Lighting for Literacy that can be extremely helpful to them. So please do share your thoughts. And so with that, I would like to hand it back to Doug for a final thought. Mags, thank you also for joining in and helping make this happen. And I thank you both for a wonderful presentation.
Thank you so much. Well, again, I'm honored to speak to everybody and to be a part of this presentation. It's been an honor to be a part of Rotary, and you know, I'm left with this thought that when I started my career 35 years ago at NASA Ames in Mountain View, I worked for two amazing engineers who we worked on the space shuttle program together. I had a one-year internship. When I finished up my 1 year, my boss turned and looked at me, and he had mentored over 40 students. And I was towards the end of his career, and he looked at me and said, "Someday, Doug, when you get to my age, I want you to turn around and mentor the youth behind you, because that's what we do." And so I had this wonderful opportunity after going to the White House to speak about the program as part of the Champions and Change program. And I got home, I called him and talked to him, and he's your typical NASA engineer, and he listened to what I had to say, and he goes, "Well, that's just what we do, right, Doug?" And that's what we do. So thank you.
All right. We thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week.